I see a lot of questions on the forums about what handles to use. And I think a lot of people come into this sport without a windsurfing background. So they're not, what is obvious to a windsurfer is not so obvious to the rest of the people coming into the sport. Just as in windsurfing, this wing has a center of pressure point. And you want to find where that center of pressure is. The center of pressure is where you feel balance force between your front and your rear hand. That's going to be the comfortable riding position. So if the center of pressure is here, then I put my harness lines here. If you're not using harness lines, this is still the center point where you're going to be centering your hands. So to have equal pressure on your front and rear hand, this will give you the most comfort and it will give you uh, proper trim of the wing and all the power you want. And so you want to keep your hands about the center of pressure. If you don't have your hands about the center of pressure and you, for example, got your hands like this, you're going to have high backhand pressure. If your hands are like this, you're going to have high front hand pressure. But if you're centered on the center of pressure, you'll have equal hand pressure. Now, where this gets tricky is the center of pressure is different based on the rider weight. For example, my wife at 120 pounds, the center of pressure is a little farther forward than the center of pressure for me at 190 pounds. So the handle choice is going to be different. And if you don't have that option of different handles, then you're just going to have, say, unequal hand pressures, maybe 60% in the backhand, 40% in the front hand. Uh, when you're a heavier guy, and a lighter person would have more front hand pressure and less backhand pressure if you only have like two handles. So that's the advantage of having extra handles. And a dirty little secret of the industry is as these wings wear out and these canopies get worn, that center of pressure moves back. And then when if your wing is new and this is the center of pressure, a year-old wing, the center of pressure might move back 2 inches, and now you're tending to move this hand back as it gets worn out. And these issues will reduce as new wings come out and the gain in performance, new materials. Each new generation of wing has less of an issue, but it will never go away. If you look to the last 50 years of windsurfing, it has never gone away. Um, all you have to do is look at these windsurf booms. This one is mine at 190 pounds. This one is my wife's at 120 pounds. If you look at where the harness lines are, mine has the center of pressure here. Hers has the center of pressure here using the exact same sails. So the center of pressure does in fact change with body weight, and that's never going to go away. So when someone says, what handles do you use? If you have some extra handles, you're going to be able to probably dial the wing in better than if you only have two or three. Uh, these wing companies are basically locating the handles to suit the average guy. And if you're not average, the handle placement's going to be a little less than perfect. Um, Booms have an advantage in this area because you can put your hands anywhere and you can always find that point where you're riding exactly on the center of pressure, hook into the harness, and you can basically ride with fingertip pressure equally balanced between your hands, all day comfort. I mean, that's what you're looking for. Um, when it gets really windy, people, some of these wings are marked move forward for less power, move back for more power. That's really a bad idea and not correct. Yes, if you move forward, you'll have less power because you're not on the center of pressure and the wing is not trimmed correctly, and it's going to be flapping in the back violently because you're not loading the canopy correctly. And when it's flapping violently, it prematurely wears out, and then that center of pressure that was here when it was new all of a sudden is back here because it's been flapping so violently for so long. And it'll start flapping worse and worse. Now, when you're wave riding and you're just holding it by the handle or just holding it like this and it's flapping, you're not doing any damage that would change the center of the pressure other than you're fatiguing the material along the trailing edge. But all kites have reinforcement here to handle some of that. So anyway, that's how you figure out where you should be centered on the handles, which handles to use.